You're watching and listening to the latest Red and Blue review show. For all your Crystal Palace related chat, please like and subscribe across all the usual social media platforms, especially our YouTube channel. This really helps us out. Now, let's get on with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and a warm welcome. Well, not so warm, it's bloody cold. A welcome to the Red and Blue Review. My name is Nick Philpott and we are going to be reviewing this evening the Fulham game and the Newcastle defeat, of course, and lots of other talking points with lots of management movements going on in the Premier League at the moment, and we've got loads to cover. Shortly going to be joining me in my illustrious team and my wingman, who's been AWOL for bleeding months. Where have you been, geezer? Welcome back, Jel Holly. What is it? What's your name again? Holly Tree or something, isn't it?
I answer to anything, mate, to be honest with you. Hello, everyone. I'd like to say it was good to be back, but I was back a little while ago to bail out some whoever blew it out before. But yeah, good to be back.
Yasmin Broom, how you doing, my honey?
Ethan, I'm all right, thank you.
I've got a bone to pick with you. Okay. Well, I was texting you yesterday afternoon. Okay, I know the day before it was. I was sending you messages, all right?
Stalking.
And then some bird come back and said, "It's all very interesting talking about the Fulham game, but I don't know who you are or what the bloody are you talking about." It's somebody completely different. It wasn't you I was texting. Welcome back. And where have you been, Jim Cannon, our illustrious former captain? How are you, mate?
I'm very well, thank you. Jel, were you talking about me when you had to fill in?
Might have been. Who fell asleep pissed on the sofa? Was it you?
I don't think I was asleep. I just was still drinking and enjoying myself. So, anyway, happy New Year to everyone and all our listeners.
Well done to all of you for being here. Thank you. I know it's difficult getting yourselves up for a podcast when we're going through such shit form as we are at the moment, but that's what we do. That's what we do. And yes, especially congratulations to you after making that journey. How was your trip yesterday?
Well, the trip was all right. And the match, I didn't think much of the ref and all of that stuff. But yeah, obviously, I hate going to Newcastle. I just like to go there and get something. Oh yeah, it was good seeing Nige. That was a highlight. However, the play that we both had was disgusting.
Well, personally, I would have rather lost 5-0 than see Nigel Crouch here, but that's my own personal thoughts. And I hear you had he was. He cut me off. I hear Steve Parrish came around and made a fuss of you all on the first-class carriage on the way home. Is that right?
Yeah, if only. He didn't even acknowledge us, which I personally don't find acceptable. But there you go.
Well, neither do I. Neither do I. You spend all that money, giving up your whole weekend to travel up there and back, and he can't even. He's sitting in the same carriage as you, and he can't be. Oh, hello. I
won't worry, Yasmin. I'd say because back in the day, he used to come down the pub and do podcasts with us, and he used to invite us to the club and do live podcasts with the managers and everything, and involve everyone. And now, all these years later in the Premier League, he don't even answer our messages if we send him texts and ask him to come on the show and stuff. So don't feel that left out. You know, he does it to everyone.
Oh, that's all right then.
Well, you've stopped asking him now. So if you stop talking to him, you might think there's something wrong.
I was looking to everybody that's joining us in the chat. Good evening to you all. I can see you there. Ian Noble's texting us from the boat, wherever he is. Evening, Nick and all. Good evening. Mark, I can see you. All of you out there. James, hello, guys. Thank you for joining us. We are live. Jordan, I can see you. Leon, I know you're there, buddy. Good evening to you. And Happy New Year to each and every one of you. Thank you for joining us. Teresa, I know you're there. I'll try not to be as negative as I was last week. I understand I'll piss some people off. Paul's out there as well. Why is he not on the show? Apparently, I pissed a few people off last week, saying that we were taking a one-way trip down the Premier League. Well, I hate to say I told you so, folks, but guess what? There you go. But we're not going to labour too much. We've got some good things. I think the biggest positive of last week was the Palace coming out of the blocks the day after the transfer window opened, and the signing of Brendan Johnson. I'd like to ask your initial thoughts. We'll talk about it in detail later in the show, but I'd like to know your thoughts, Jel and Yaz, to start with, on the signing of Brendan Johnson. How's he fitting around us? Jel?
Well, I mean, we've seen nothing. He's played 40 minutes, I think, this season, and then the minutes that he got for us last night. So, but yeah, I mean, he looked lively. I mean, I did have he sort of weed on my parade a little bit. I had a Johnson watch, misses. But yeah, I mean, he didn't set the world on fire. So, but yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I don't know what we're expecting from a £35 million player. Come out and score 5 goals. But yeah, I think he'll get better, and I think once OG gets hold of him and the rest of the backroom team, tell him to believe in himself a little bit more, I think he'll be good for us. He will be good. We all know he's good, so it will come.
I agree. I think he's a great player. Yes, you saw him live yesterday. I was delighted. Yeah. Were you surprised to see that he's actually included? Bear in mind, he hasn't done any training yet. He had a 40-minute training session with the team. Are you surprised that the manager put him straight in?
No, I would have been more surprised if he hadn't, because of all the injuries. I thought, well, we could just do with him. His legs are going to be fresher than everybody else's. And I thought he did okay. I thought he showed some bright, promise. And I personally would have kept him on longer. Some of the others were struggling a bit more than him. So there's mixed opinions on him, isn't there? Some people at Spurs didn't like him. But he did score all those goals. And to be honest, that's what we need at the moment. So if we can give him some service, I'm hoping he'll be good for us. And he's young. So, yeah, I'm quite confident.
And so we're going to cover him later. I just wanted your initial thoughts. Jim, 33.5 million apparently is what we paid for him. Your thoughts? I think he's a decent player. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, we haven't seen much of him this year, but when he's come on, he's one of these lads that's always round the back post when crosses come in, and he scores. He scored loads of goals for Nottingham Forest for that. He'd be an asset. I mean, obviously he's coming in. I only saw a few highlights of the Newcastle game, so I haven't a clue what he did, where he was good. But he's come into a really struggling side, so he's probably going to struggle a little bit. Fitness-wise, I've got no problem with. It's basically playing the system that the manager wants, and everybody's got to be tuned in. And having not played that system, probably with his last manager, that's something that he'll have to work on. But yeah, I think he's going to be a good asset. He might have to move to the other side of the park because Sarr plays down that right-hand side and he does brilliant. And we haven't really got anybody with any quality playing on the left, unless you class him.
You haven't read my notes, but that's exactly the point I was going to make later on. He can actually play anywhere across the front three. So you're quite right to highlight it, mate. He's obviously he specialises on the right, and as you said, that's Sal's favoured position. But there's no reason why he can't play on the left in place of something like Pino, even up front. He's a goal scorer. And what he's actually known for or not known for is creating goals. What he does do, and again, you've already alluded to it, is he comes in at the back post and puts away the chances that have been made by other people. So when we get people like Munoz back, supplying some crosses into the box, I think it's a great purchase. Chris has just said out there, Spurs paid 47.5 million for him. So they've lost money. They've lost money on him. Okay. Well, let's hope this manager or the next manager can get their teeth into him and get the best out of him. Right, we're going to move on because I want to come back to that, and I want to come back to transfers later on in the show. Yes, I know you went to Newcastle yesterday, but Jill's covering the Newcastle game. If you'd be so kind, talk to us about Fulham. What did you think about the Fulham game? What are your highlights and lowlights? Over to you.
Okay. So, yeah, it was quite chilly at night, and we had the same lineup as the last game. We didn't really have anyone to bring in, really. And we were coming in off of one of our worst runs, and Fulham were coming in off one of their best. So it was, someone in the crowd said, "Oh, I'd take a draw now" or something. So they got what they wanted. I mean, I was hoping we would beat them because we have done so many times in the past. But just on the run we were, I was you know when you're a bit apprehensive that it could all go downhill. But anyway, so Fulham, I think we were quite evenly matched in the first half until we scored. But Fulham, they had a few shots from Smith Rowe and Wilson, and then we did too, Pino and Mitchell and Mark. And then one thing that I found Fulham was doing, I don't know if you noticed that number 20, Lukic, he was terrible, really took a dislike to him. He was running into people, he was falling over, pretending he's been shot every 5 minutes, and he was just really getting on my nerves. And but then one of their other players, yeah, go on, Jel.
Is that the geezer they call? Is it Kevin?
No, Kevin's a different player.
He's a different one. This was a tall bloke. He actually put in the assist for their goal, but one of their other players went down on 38 minutes, and he was trying to claim that Justin had caught him in the face. I mean, when you look at it, his arm was up a bit, but it didn't look like there was much, if any, contact. Anyway, he went down and was rolling around, and in the end, the referee, they didn't bring on the physios and stuff, but they made him go off, which of course they were really angry about. But I thought was a good thing, because he was one of many of their players doing the same thing. And I think if you make them go off, even though, you know, they haven't had the physios and stuff on, then maybe they'll stop pretending they've been hit in the face every 5 minutes. So anyway, while he's off, Lerma puts through a really good ball to Kleiny, who I thought Kleiny had a good game. I mean, don't forget, he's for a player, he's getting on a bit. He hadn't been playing, and I think he's been doing really well for us. He's not Munoz, no one thinks that he is, but I think he's been doing a really good job. And so he put in a really good cross, which JP headed in, and thankfully couldn't miss that. It was a good header. I'm not taking that away from him. It was good, but I think that the crossing from Kleiny was excellent, and I think he's doing a really great job for us at the moment.
Yeah, do you know what? I advocate what you said about Kleiny. I don't know what age he is now. Paul Bristow, how old is he now? Have a look for me. He's got to be
76.
Yeah, and that guy is still he's still up there. Jim, as a former defender, what value that guy got for us at the moment? I mean, without him, we would be in serious trouble, wouldn't we?
Well, we'd probably be playing a 17-year-old at fullback or wing-back. Yeah, he done well. I mean, I thought he struggled the game before where they took him off at half-time, his touch. And to be fair, the goal that we scored, it was brilliant by him, but we used to call it touch and tackle. His first touch was so poor, it ran towards the defender, and he had to tackle him to get it back, which he did, and then whipped it straight in. But yeah, I mean, he's a good, experienced lad, and it's sometimes when I look at him and I look at Joel Ward, and I think, why didn't we keep Joel Ward for another year? Purely because of the strength of our squad.
And he is 34. Paul's just confirmed. Thank you, Paul, that he is 34 years old. How old was Joel when he left us? Was it 32? Was he?
Same age. He's not even that. I don't think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you make a reasonable point. Sorry, yes, we interrupted as always. Carry on.
No, that's okay. So actually, Kleiny did have a shot himself on 45 minutes as well, but obviously it didn't go in. And then someone mentioned Anderson in the chat, and it was one of the people I wanted to talk about. Because obviously, when he went to Fulham, I was really upset at the time because I thought, he's a really good player. Why did we get rid of him? And who's this Max that we brought in? Obviously, I then changed my mind after a few games. But I just noticed with Fulham, he seems to have changed. Like, he doesn't, even the fans don't seem to have any, like us. With our old players, we've got some kind of rapport with most of them, but we don't seem to have it with Anderson. He gets booed. And he was complaining and going on, all the time and trying to get fouls that weren't fouls. And I don't know, just a little bit, I don't know, disappointed.
Do you know what?
Annoying?
Yeah, it is annoying. The one thing he has got is he's still got that ability to spray that 40-yard crossfield ball.
Oh yes, yeah.
And you give your eye tooth for somebody like that in our team at the moment. Mark's talented, of course he is. Max is super talented. We know but that's not their game. But the one thing Anderson's always had in his game is that long ball across the pitch to somebody's feet. Go for it, Joe.
Mark's got that. Mark he comes in by the left hand touchline, and it's that big long ball out to the right. He's been doing that all season. He's added that to his game. I have to say, he never used to do it, but he has definitely added that to his game. And long ball passer, he's probably now the best passer, I would say, in our team. Long ball passer.
Guys, I am reading all your comments as they're going through in the chat. I'm going to try and come back to some of them during the course of the pod, as long as we get time. Because I noticed, Colin, your point about the managers and everything else. I want to come and address that later on if we may. But we'll go through the games first, and then we'll come back to that. Yes, onto you.
Yeah. Anyway, Anderson got booked almost straight away after half time for moaning at the ref, which he did quite a lot for most of the game. The other thing I want to talk about. So when Fulham had a shot, Dino seems to he favours bashing it out rather than catching. He seems to do it a lot, and there was one point in that game where he did that, and then that led to a follow-up shot from Wilson, I think, and he made a good save, but we were talking about it at the time that he needn't have had to make that save. He
could have caught it.
And Dino is another person I was going to bring up in that he's been brilliant for us, and he's still making really good saves every game. He did it at Newcastle, he did it at Fulham, but he also seems to be not quite on the form that he was before.
Is there any correlation to that, Yaz, since the departure of Dean Kiley? Nigel made that point pre-show.
Yeah, he did, and there does seem to be something in it. When I was speaking to Paul yesterday, he was saying that the whole team have lost confidence on set pieces and things like that, and that's just coming off on Dino as well, where he seems to be flapping a bit and sometimes not quite in the right place. And I don't know if it is just a confidence thing or if it is something more.
Well, the set piece thing was the thing we were going to be talking about later on, but we are blessed, of course, to have club legend Jim Cannon on the show. Jim, we've fallen off a cliff when it comes to set pieces. What is it? What's going on? What's causing it? It can't just be the long ball throws from the touchline.
Well, saying that, we gave 2 free goals away against Leeds purely from throw-ins. But it's normally from throw-ins, it's always the second ball. And I watched what game must have been the Spurs game, where the ball came in from one side and 3 of our players just went for the same ball, and the guy managed to get a touch, and it fell to a guy who's not scored a goal in the Premiership, who was standing on the line, and just let it hit his head. You cannot, I don't care what sort of defender you are, you can't give anybody that sort of room in the box. And the only reason for that is probably lack of concentration. Maybe they're just so determined to try and win the first one. But I don't think, going back to Dean, without doubt, he's probably the best shot stopper in the country by a country mile. But I don't think he gives. I've always thought, maybe not this season, but gone back last season, if I ever picked him out for anything, it was he wasn't very good on crosses. I think he's got a bit better, but he only wants to punch stuff, and he's punching stuff sometimes that he can just grab hold of. In the second goal against I don't know I don't think, maybe he doesn't give the players around him enough confidence, because I've played with keepers that would just, you were not in the way. He was coming to get things. And the second goal against Newcastle was pretty poor. He was all a flap, and he was like, I think sometimes you've got to be really calm in them positions, especially as a keeper, and talk to people and push them. And we've got this thing where players are fighting because there's a player standing to the side of the goalkeeper, and our defender wants to get in between the goalkeeper. Why? If you're marking somebody, you want to keep them that side of you. Well, the keeper's there, and the keeper can always get a ball higher than you. because he's got the reach. You've got a standing jump. So I just think maybe it's obviously once teams find that you've got a bit of a weak link, and especially in the Premiership now, in some of the balls that people whip in, you haven't a chance. And we just need to be stronger.
Jim,
Jel?
I've got two follow-up questions for you, Jim.
Yeah.
Jel, make your point, because I'm going to come straight back to Jim on this.
I think the noticeable difference with keepers all around, the Premier League at the moment, what I've noticed is that they're now, I don't think part of their training is catching the ball anymore. I think these balls, they move around so much in the air that they want them to get it away. And of course, if you try and catch it, just imagine Pudgy back in the day and Ray Clements and Pat Jennings, big Pat Jennings, Christ, I think he had hands the size of shovels anyway, so he could catch it and just pat it down. But that's what they used to do, this to try and catch it, hold on to it, because once the goalkeeper catches it and has it in his arms, there's no second phase. And that's where we're being let down a little bit these days, where we're conceding goals from second phases after our goalkeeper hasn't. But it's been taught that way. That's the modern way of don't try and catch the ball. Try and get it away.
And if you're talking about more shots, he's going to palm. The ball moves about, but when you've got long crosses, that they're not the difficult balls to deal with.
No, I agree. But when he does,
shots that come in are moving about, so I can understand.
Right, okay, boys. We're going to push on if you don't mind. Simon Cribbin, Jim. Simon Cribbin in the chat. He's over in Canada. This is watches live from Canada. Evening, mate. I hope the family are well. He's asking the question, Jim: is zonal marking the issue?
Well, when I look at our team, I don't know how they mark. I mean, I just lots of teams will mark zones, so they'll just put a player on the near post, player in the middle, and a player there. And they don't go and mark. And then they'll have three outside of them. They don't mark anybody. Their responsibility is that area. But I don't see us doing that, because I watch us sometimes, and if four of their players go to the back post, four of our players go. I'm very much old school. I think lots of teams do it. I like man for man. So I would mark the centre half or the centre forward, depending on good they were in the air. And then our next header of the ball would mark the next best header of the ball in their team. And it was your responsibility. All right, sometimes you'd leave to pick something up that's dropped in front of you, but you weren't going to let them score. But players don't look for the ball anymore. They're all holding on to one another, and they're not even looking at the ball. They're looking at an attacker, and the ball's coming in from behind. I was always taught I had to win the ball. I wasn't interested in mine. I wanted to see him. I wanted to feel him, but I was going to go and attack it. And
Can I ask you mentioned those goals that we conceded against Leeds, Jim, and two of them came from long throws. And it reminded me of who was that bloke at Stoke who had a monstrous long throw? Was it Paul Pescatello? Yeah,
Rory Delap.
Rory Delap.
Yeah.
And that was obviously a part of the game at the time. And then it went completely out of the game because, and the reason it went out of the game in my mind was all they did is somebody had taken a throw in, and the defending team would just get somebody to go stand in front of the ball thrower. Literally, so he had to literally reach it over the player that's standing in front of him. And from that, it went away from the game. It's come back in again now, and yet nobody's standing in front of the ball thrower. Any reason?
Well, I think they've got to be 10 yards away, haven't they?
Is that the rule now? They've got to be 10.
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't a clue. But the thing is, you defending long throws like that. The first two goals against Leeds is the guy at the front has flicked it on because we've got no defender there. You must have a defender in front to go and attack that ball. And with nobody, he flicked it on. If it was their big centre forward scored 2 goals from it, didn't he?
Yeah, Calvert-Lewin. Indeed. Listen, this is really fascinating, guys. And poor old Yaz is itching to get on with her commentary.
Sorry, Yaz.
You're doing fine.
I brought it up, so I don't mind.
Oh, good.
So I'll try and hurry up a bit. But one thing I wanted to highlight as well was that Camvo came on for Hughesy, and it wasn't long after he came on, from where I was sitting, we saw it quite closely. But at one point, Glasner called Cambo over. I don't know what he'd done. I hadn't noticed, but he absolutely balled him out on the touchline. I felt quite sorry for him. You know, when you watch someone getting told off and you don't know where to look, that's kind of how we felt. So I was pleased that he did bring him on at Newcastle, because I thought he might be demoted to the under-21s or whatever that happened to SA. Fulham had some more shots. We had a good chance from a corner where Max tried to head it in, and I think it hit Mark or one of our defenders, so it didn't go in. But I thought that was one of our best chances of that half. And then in the what was it, 80th minute, I think, their player Carney, he took a really good goal. I don't think there was any stopping it. It was in the top corner.
It was a great strike. It was a fantastic strike, and we were standing right behind it in the home stand. So I watched it, and it just, the keeper had no chance. We could have got it quicker. You know, I think that's Mark in the middle of the picture, but there's literally Mark, and he's 5-7 yards away from the player. So yeah, plenty of time to take his shot, to pick his spot, and it was a great goal. It was a great finish.
Yeah. And I think it gave them a lot of confidence then. And I think from then we were kind of thinking, oh, it's more likely to be them that will get the next goal than us, just from how they seem to be, and we seem to maybe have our heads down a little bit. And then, on 91 minutes, Dino did an absolutely magnificent save from what looked like a winning goal. So as much as he, has maybe lost some confidence, as Jim said, he's the best shot stopper, and he proved that then. And we did.
Oh,
she's gone.
Yes, you've frozen there, Lo. And she still has. Yes, click yourself off and come back in again, because you've frozen. Jill, you're still there, aren't you?
I am, yes.
Sadly. Okay, you're about to make a point, weren't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, the only point I would make about that chance that whoever it was, the Fulham player that missed that was, I'd be fuming if I was the manager about him missing that. I mean, he could have put it anywhere else apart from where he put it. Dino has no chance. He has zero chance. To his left, he has no chance. To his right, he has no chance. I mean, it was a good save because he made the save, but it was a TV save. We'd absolutely expect him to make that save. So,
yeah, good. Well, as Yaz has left us, we might as well draw a line under it there. Do we go straight into the Newcastle game, Jane? Oh, yeah, there's your position. There's your stats. It just shows you that Fulham had every opportunity. I think the result was just about fair. They could have easily nicked it at the end. Shots on target, we only had 2. They had 5. Corners, we had 6. They had 3. It was quite an even game. So I think the result actually was probably the right result. I couldn't see us winning that game. If I'm honest with you, I couldn't see us winning that game. I couldn't. Fulham could have nicked it at the end, but didn't. Right. So we're going to move straight on, Jel, because I want to get onto transfer targets and other bits and pieces.
Well, don't rush me. You terrorised me about doing a report. So you've got 5 pages of a report. This one might be a little bit detailed, and I'm just going to go through where I was writing down.
I've got to watch the programme at 9 o'clock. Can you make it 4 pages?
I made the point earlier. I've had to write for 90 minutes last night, scribbling.
Shut up.
Okay, so the first, obviously Newcastle away. I didn't think it was that cold, and I put another pair, put a pair of slippers on while I was watching it from my sofa. But everyone moaning about the weather in this country. But yeah, so I thought the first 10 minutes, apart from one shot from Wissa, to be honest with you, if it's our player, we're disappointed that he doesn't score. But after his square ball from Anthony Gordon, who worried us all night, all night with his pace, he squares it to Wissa on the edge of the box. He's got no one near him, and he paces it left or right as a goal, and he hits it straight at Dino. But apart from that, the first 10 minutes I thought belonged to Palace. And then of course in about the 17th minute, In the 17th minute, Newcastle pinging it around, forces Dino into another save. And then in the 19th minute, Wissa breaks free. He breaks free on the line, feeds Gordon, and in a tight decision, VAR comes to the aid of Palace. I mean, it as we've seen in years gone by, Wilf was 1 inch apparently offside. When we scored against Man United a few years back. So it don't matter, an inch, a foot, a yard. Ridiculous. And then, the Geordie fans terribly upset, and the referee was going to make sure that would not happen again, but then being all gutted about the goal. Anything in the, up to sort of 25 minutes that was good from Palace came from Adam Wharton. No one else was trying to be creative at all. I didn't think we used our width much. We got a new player. You've got to give him the ball as much as possible. He's a winger. And then I have to mention, the comms on Sky, just so dreadfully biased, really, really biased. Anyway, 27th minute, bad challenge by Hall and Lerma, no card. It was the easiest decision that referee probably had all night. He never gave it. And then on 33 minutes, just a few minutes later, Anthony Gordon dives right in front of the camera. You can see he dives, and Johnson gets a yellow. I mean, because the crowd scream, they've had a goal disallowed, which was offside. And so the referee, he bottled it completely, and Johnson got a yellow card. And then Jefferson Lerma gets caught in the 34th minute, accidental clash of heads, and he's subbed off. And then while we were sitting there waiting for Lerma to be, diagnosed with concussion, that's why he came off. You're such a knobhead, whatever you're doing. Are you trying to just say that someone's sitting there in the dark?
She's got a power cut. Yes, she's got a power cut right now.
Oh, okay. Okay, right.
Put the light on.
But anyway, so, and then the Geordie, whoever the Geordie was on Sky Comms turned around and said that Oliver Glasner had all his tactics wrong. So, I mean, if Glasner does leave, whoever was doing it, I was so annoyed by the comms that I'm not even bothered to find out who it was that was commentating alongside the Sky Comms. But whoever it was, get him in, because he knows better than Oliver Glasner. Anyway, in the 38th minute, Cambo comes on and it confirms that it is a concussion substitute. 39th minute, Pino pings an absolute beautiful ball. Straight away, cuts Newcastle in half, sets JP away, and then you can see that his lack of pace. I mean, the Newcastle defender, Chang, I think it was. I mean, he just bossed him all night. And he never got any change out of him at all. 42nd minute, save from Henderson after another decent shot from Hall. 45th minute, Palace opened up again. There's a ball straight through the middle. Sees Linton finish, Joel Linton finish well into the bottom corner. But again, I don't know why they even bothered showing the replays of it, because they never show offside goals. And he wasn't even a yard. He was a yard and a half or whatever. The other thing that I've starred is almost any tackle from a Palace player is a foul. He just blew up all night. He was like their 12th man, the referee. He was absolutely crap. 5 minutes added, Johnson gets away from Hall and feeds JP, whose shot is deflected away from a corner. We had 2 corners from that, 46, 47 minutes. They literally amounted to nothing. Intricate play, and this is where we really should have took the lead. Some good play from Hughes to Pino. Pino then finds Hughes again, and he tries to just toe poke it instead of, I don't know. When you're in that position, you have just got to do your best. And with Hughes, I will never, have a go at that fella. He wears his shirt properly for us. And he was really unlucky. I can't say if it had fell to anyone else, they would have scored, because at the moment we don't seem to have the person with that little bit of panache that we need. Anyway, after that, I thought it was a pretty, if anyone else was to say anything, but I thought it was a pretty even first half. They had chances, we had chances, irrespective of the disallowed goals.
I'm more worried about the ghost that's behind Yasmin in the dark. Go on, keep going, John.
Yeah. So anyway, I put the Brennan Johnson watch. It was quiet with the odd spell. I thought he was really unlucky with the yellow. Player of the first half was the referee. So the second half, and this is again, I'm going to go on about it because if other people didn't see you was at the match, you missed it. This is how bad Sky are, right? They called Newcastle. They referred to the Newcastle team as Sunderland at half time. I mean, that's just, you know, they should get hate mail for that. Absolutely deserve it. Anyway, Newcastle get the kick off. Tonali lies dying after being, and he literally got handed off by Mattel, not in the face, you know, handed, but and the referee blows up because they start screaming. But honestly, the acting and what we were saying earlier about the Fulham player being told, right, got to go off, even though the people didn't come on, the medical staff didn't come on for him, right? I think that there should be someone there now, and if you're down for more than 15 seconds, right, someone should be there, just be their job, count 15 seconds, referee blows up, that player goes off the pitch, irrespective of whether he's covered in blood or whether he's pretending, not interested. And the other thing is, unless it's a bad foul, players should be, you know, they're getting tackled on the edge of the pitch. Get them off the pitch, get the game going. It is ridiculous. Anyway, I thought the best sounds all night was hearing at St James's Park 50,000 moaning. Yeah, I mean, they moan more than your mother when you leave the door open on a winter's night. But anyway, another awful decision from I think his name is Brooks. Anyway, the referee is he booked Gay after he quite clearly 6 foot in front of the Sky cameras, and the replay showed it, that he won the ball. Our manager's fuming. Of course, they're not 50,000 of them. I mean, I'm only shouting just to warm themselves up. But anyway, and he gets a card. Gay gets a card. In a million years, it wasn't a card. But again, it's ridiculous. I mean, Hall is ridiculed by Devaney. He mugs him, goes past him. Hall brings him down, literally grabs him by the waist, brings him down, no card. You're like, do you know what? Shit, ref. That's the end of that. Bruno Guillemesh stands on Walton's toes as he runs past him. Quite a deliberate pry by Bruno. He runs past Walton and stands on his foot. Nothing at all. Really bad. Anyway, Palace break. This is 62nd minute Palace break. Pino's upended by Gordon. The yellow card. And the worst part about it is, when I say upended, it wasn't. It was just a weight on weight. Pino's tiny. Gordon isn't. He's slightly bigger. And it wasn't a yellow card. I mean, it's just another decision that the referee got wrong. And then what we got, 63 minutes, Mitchell making 3 blocks in quick succession as Newcastle just attack. The 3 changes for Newcastle happens shortly after. And I'm trying to think who it was. I think Walton had a decent shot. 71, the ball's clear from a free kick after the Walton fouled Guillemesh. But he did, I mean, it's such a the diving by we've got one player that dives, right? And I don't care what people say. It's an argumentative point, but at the back, you know, we've Lacroix likes to go down like he's, you know, screaming like he's dying. He's the only one in our team that does it. No one else does it. But every other team, they seem to have 4 or 5 players doing it. It is just a nightmare. So I'm just trying to read my.
Hold there a second, Jim. Mark asked a question in the chat to you. In your day, did they actually go down audibly screaming like you hear now? You actually hear them scream, even on the telly. You can hear them. Yeah. Did they do that? Because I don't remember that.
Only if they'd a break. No, I didn't. I never. Not in my day. You didn't make a noise even when you were injured, because you didn't want to make sure that they got the better of you.
A little bit of bravado, wasn't it, really?
I've gone into tackles where I want to scream, but you just sort of zip your mouth and get up and hobble away because you didn't want them to know that they got one over you. But the game's full of cheats now. You know, there was an instant last night, I watched something, and the guy got a slight elbow in his chest, and he went down holding his head and was rolling about. Referee should just send them off because we don't need that in football.
Yeah. Well, they try and tidy the game up, and it lasts for the first 2 or 3 games. You know, like you can't touch anyone in a wall. We have a free kick. Gay gets involved with someone against Chelsea. They cancel the goal. And now look at it on a week-to-week basis. It happens every time. Anyway, 71st minute, Wharton fouls Bruno, goes down dying, but he gets up, takes a free kick, and it's cleared. The ball's then delivered deep to the back post. It's met. I can't remember who met it. Crossed it, and then Bruno, basically had a free header. 1-0. 72nd minute, Brennan Johnson off, Uche on. 77th minute, Henderson saves from a barn shot, screamer, and that was a pretty decent save. Newcastle have a corner, and the ball's delivered, and it lands in no man's land of 3 of our players. So I think it hits Henderson, and then the ball comes out, and it's in between 3 of our players, and no one says wallop and hits it into Rose Ed. And so Chan just taps it in. 2-0, game over. I mean, after that, really, it was just scrappy. 86th minute, Rodney, SA, and Drake Thomas all come on for Mateta, Wharton, and Pino. I think basically that was no message to anybody. That was give them a chance, but also get 3 of our more supposed influential players off the pitch. Even if it is 10 minutes early, 10 minutes is better than nothing. And then, so we got the 90 minutes. Ball comes up with 5 extra. 92nd minute, good spin by Barnes, and again he makes Dino pull off a good save. Willett misses an open goal. Only Mateta could miss. Man in the match by Mile was the referee. Miley was brilliant, and like I said, the ref was crap. So the overall thing for me, before we throw this out to the Wolves in the for everyone watching, I think we looked lightweight and not up for the fight. We made the easy look hard and the hard look impossible, especially in the second half where we were completely overrun. I imagine we'll lose Lerma next game due to the concussion protocols. JP's off the pace and has been since his apparent move for a bumper new deal. Pino, he needs the rest of the season really just to adjust to the physicality and pace of the Premier League, even though he is doing as best he can. Wharton can't create everything on his own, and we're missing Richards at right centre-back. Apart from that, 12th place, here we come.
12th place, Jel calls for the season. That's very cool. Okay, thank you for that, Yusu. That's very good, very entertaining, especially in the dark.
Listen, I told you I'd missed Victor Meldrew. The referee.
Tell me what part of that I lied.
No, none of it. I think you're right. We're lightweight, and that's the time. But I don't know what the latest is on the Richard injury. Does anybody know out there? Has anybody heard anything? Because I didn't think he was that serious, and I thought he was going to be due back very soon.
Well, they did too. No, they turned around and said, didn't he? It was asked the other day, Glasner, and they said that he can't put any weight on it. He definitely can't put a boot on, and he definitely can't kick a football. So I got a feeling that was probably more of a small operation afterwards to sort that out, and that must be down to the metatarsals, because if it's a scratch, you play on, Jim, don't you? But if it's right down in there, you're not gonna be able to even put your boot on.
Yeah, if you can't put your boot on, you can't run a boat, can you? Simple as
exactly.
That. Okay, so we're going to move on a little bit. Thank you for the reviews, Yusu. We're going to talk about what really is a competitor. Okay, I don't normally talk about other Palace podcasts, but I'm about to big one up. I don't know if any of you are aware of it. It's called the Winging It podcast. A friend of ours, friend of Jel's and mine, a guy called Terence Ford, who we know very well. He runs Winging It podcast. Yes, you do, Jel. And he's a great guy. And he sometimes has Carl Davis on. Now, for those of you who are familiar to this podcast and our old Red and Blue News and the other place that Jel and I used to be on as well on podcasts, you'll know that Carl Davis is highly thought of within the Palace
And a good
community.
guy.
A really good guy and very, very well connected with the club. Well, Terence wasn't on the podcast the other day. It was hosted by some other guy, but Carl was. And Carl gave a very interesting overview on what's likely to happen on this window. Now, Carl Davis is not the sort of guy, and so we've got to pick up the Winging It podcast. Fantastic guys, really good stuff. Thank you. And I've taken most of this information I've got written down from that podcast. Okay. Now, he doesn't over egg the pudding in any way, shape, or form. He never has done. Carl, he just gives you facts and figures. And one of his opening statements was that if this is not our biggest ever transfer window, it's going to be up there with it. Jill made the point before pre-show that there was that stupid window where we went out and supermarkets swept about 10 different players. He doesn't mean that. He's talking about in terms of quality. Now, I'm going to run through some of the players that Carl has suggested we might be interested in, or he certainly actually mentioned the other day. And two of them are right wing backs. Sasha Bowie for number one. Some of you may be familiar with him. And Oscar Bob. Now, notice I said and Oscar Bob. Now, that's not and or, okay? That was and he's making the point. If we can get one of them on a permanent and one of them on a loan, we would do both, which I think we all agree we need cover on the right wing back. How are you getting on with your light? Yes, everything okay? You seem to have some decent light on you now. Everything all right there? Are you really having a power cut?
No, I've got a torch by the side of me. The whole street seems to be out. Don't know what's going on.
Somebody made the point in the chat earlier, half an inch of snow and Sutton goes down without power. What was all that about? Yao Gomez, anybody familiar with Yao Gomez at Wolves? No, looking at a lot of blame. Strand Larsen at Wolves, quite possibly, but he will go for obvious reasons because Wolves are going to go. Strand Larsen will probably go in this window, and we have certainly made an inquiry over Strand Larsen. But the thing with Strand Larsen, the striker, he will be up there with. There'll be many other clubs also looking at him, but it will be a good deal if we could get it done. There were quite a few. Joe, did you want to make a point?
Me, we won't get Strand Larsen. They'll want 35, 40 million for him, and he'll want a silly amount of money. He's a reasonably decent player that will attract.
We clearly have a budget, though, Joe. We clearly have a decent-sized budget. For Carl to use the words, our biggest transfer window potentially in our history. Okay, we obviously clearly maybe Woody has decided to put some money in. Okay,
but you're saying that. So what have we got? 100 million. We already had 80. Because the money that was ring fenced for the stand obviously wasn't, because we've got a $215 million loan, didn't we? A couple of weeks ago off a big American bank. So obviously that money, and unless we did have that money ring fenced, then we can use it for players along with the Eze money. So we got what, 300 million to spend, which would be great.
Well, maybe we don't know what we have. A couple of interesting ones that he made the point. If we were to go and be successful with Strand Larsen, Eddie would go. And the interesting one was in the summer transfer window. Unbeknownst to all of us, there was already a deal in place for Eddie to leave the club. Nobody knows who it is to. Okay, but the deal was done and dusted, and the player himself then got injured, and the deal collapsed at the very last minute. That said, and also we already know that with Eddie Nketiah, a deal was in place this window for Eddie to leave the club. And what's happened? Exactly the same thing. History has repeated itself, and he's got himself injured again, which is a shame because it could affect us now going in to get making a bid for Strand Larsen. even if we didn't get him, but at least we'd be trying to get him. Then somebody made the point: there is the perennial person that we do need in central midfield, the perennial contact or the perennial centre midfielder, and I know Yaz is going to smile, in Conor Gallagher. And Carl's words were, if there is a deal to be done, this time we will get it done. And it's not my words, they're Carl's words. Yaz, I know you're on mute, my lovey, and I know you're struggling with your life. What would you think about it? Would you want Conor?
I definitely would. And in fact, I was having a conversation with Paul and Grant, and I said rather loudly for those others in the carriage who had some influence that if anyone had his phone number to call him, because we definitely wanted him back. So, I mean, he can score, he's got pace, he's got energy. I think he's just what we need right now. And he gets us.
And he gets us. And you also made the point pre-show about Mark. If Conor was to stay.
Reunited with his best friend, who knows what influence he could have. That's just my dreams, as Nick said.
Okay, well, I think, here's us concerned that we were going to have a quiet transfer window, do the usual Palace transfer window, Jim, and leave everything to the last minute and get the deals done. And, on the 26th of January and all that sort of cobblers. It looks as though we're making our moves early. Carl's also saying that we're going to get that show was recorded before the transfer window opened, a week or so before it opened. He said we're already looking at Brendan Johnson. He said it looks really close and it's going to be done. So obviously, history as we know that's been completed, and he's talking about getting a second one in the first week of the window. Is it quite refreshing, mate, to have our business done early? Would you not say?
Well, yeah, because normally during the summer we leave it till the last minute, and the players don't get a chance to get to know the manager. And so, obviously, I think it was evident that Parish was going to get a player in early doors. I think the manager wouldn't be happy if we didn't, especially with the way the squad is at the moment with all the injuries. So, I think it was important. But I mean, as far as the rest, there's some good names there. The two Wolves lads would be great assets, I think. It's all hearsay, isn't it? I don't listen to what people say until I see it in the paper or on the Palace website that they've signed somebody. So otherwise, there's a million names mentioned, but most of them are no nos.
Are you familiar with Carl Davis, Jim?
No.
Okay, we are from other areas, and he is highly respected within the Palace ranks, and he is a very close ear to somebody very high up. Let's leave it that way. I'm not going to give away too many details, but we know that he's highly connected. Jel.
I mean, we haven't mentioned centre backs, and I think we might need a minimum of two. I mean, does anyone know how far Chaddy is? Is he coming back, or is he going to turn into an insurance claim like the Corey?
Could well do, because he did come back and he was back on the grass training. By the way, Paul Bristow makes a good point in the chat that the Conor Gallagher deal he'll be allowed to leave as long as he's on a permanent deal, as opposed to a loan. Yeah, I agree with that, Paul, and you're right. We are looking at a couple of. There's 3 or 4 more names here. I don't know anything about any of them. Okay, so I didn't give you them. A guy called Sharif, a guy called Duma Bar, a guy called Dan, a guy called El Dawadi from Genk. Okay, and that's in the same place. Obviously, we got Daniel Munoz from. He's another right wing back apparently. Lots of names being chucked around as quite freely, but the main ones. And Jim, you make a good point. You don't believe anything until it's actually happened. Sasha Bowie, I know 100% we're actually in for him. Oscar Bob, in addition to, and Conor Gallagher, if we can get the job, if we can get the deal done. They're the 3 that we are definitely trying to progress, but the others are maybes, and they are hearsay, as Jim called it. Joe, you're about to say something, mate?
Well, I'm amazed. Oscar Bob. Do we need anyone that's 3'6" in the side. I think we need to have cover I think we need another left back. I think we need a minimum of two. But if we're going to lose Mark at the end of the season, right? So let's not wait until he's gone before we start searching again. We need to. But then, if he were to get injured, if he were to get injured at the moment, we would be playing. Well, we are already playing a midfielder at the back. We put in Lerma as cover. I would hate to think that Hughes might have to go back if anything happened to Tyrick. But that's where we're at the moment. I think we, 2 centre midfielders, centre forward, and 4 defenders. For me, that's what I think. That's what I think we need, because let's just say that Max has had an amazing season, and for me, he's starting to remind me of Virgil van Dijk. I know it's a massive call, and people go, "Oh, leave it out." But seriously, Van Dijk was decent when he was at Celtic. It was only when he went to Liverpool he turned into a Rolls Royce. And I think in a better team, Max gets more time than he already looks like he has, and it would only get better. If we lose him, we lose Mark. Then it leaves us with Chris Richards. Like, quite literally, if Chaddy doesn't come back, if he does come back, he should be fresh as a daisy. But he's had I don't know how long he's been out now. Did he play for us for 3 months? He's been with us 18 months. He's been out forever. Yeah, which I don't know whether that is a career-ending injury that he's got. And obviously, when Doucouré comes back, he's not going to be the same. We won't need. He'll either be gone, or like I say, there'll be insurance payouts, and then they'll go on free transfers to go wherever. Our little Brazilian, he'll be back, but he'll be gone. Because we sent him off to Brazil, and they've biffed him back. So we're going to have a huge amount of change at the end of this season, whether we like it or not. But just getting in, I think Conor Gallagher would be an amazing. Would get the fans going. I can't see it happening now. Amarin's gone. I think United needs to make a statement signing, and I think that's what they probably will do. They'll get him. But if we are now, about to spend big, then we've been doing this from 2 or 3 months ago and not 2 or 3 weeks ago, because everyone else will be looking to strengthen. But yeah, we need grafters, not luxury players. And Oscar Bob for me is a luxury player, so it'll be a no for me about that. But if we're looking at centre backs, I think we need a minimum of 2 centre backs. What say you, Jim?
We definitely need 2 midfield players. I mean, Hughes is great, but he doesn't create tons of chances for people. I mean, he's a really hard-working, industrious midfield player. But we need far more creativity in the middle of the park, because we give the ball away so easy. Like, at times, I turn the telly off sometimes when I'm watching Palace, purely because of frustration at passes that are simple passes. But yeah, I mean, we need to strengthen. I think this window could benefit us in the sense that all the big teams don't buy players in the window, not in the January window, because most of your players are players that are either not playing on a regular basis, like Johnson, and I think you've got a good chance of snapping up 1 or 2 really useful players in the January window. The summer one, everybody wants everybody. So the top teams get the best players. So we've got Johnson, who is a good player, and we might get 1 or 2 more like him. Conor Gallagher would be brilliant, but I think he'd only come to us on loan. We'd be paying 70 million for him. I don't think we'll do that.
Well, I certainly think Brennan Johnson potentially could go down as one of the transfers of the window, and I honestly feel that. Ladies and gentlemen, you notice in the chat, and I see there's lots of chat going on about the manager and Man United and Amarin and all that nonsense. Okay, I purposely, because I got accused of being negative last week, I'm not getting involved in it. Okay, at the moment he's the Palace manager until the end of the season. Somebody made a good point in there that Johnson wanted to speak to Mr. Glasner before he signed, to get his reassurances about our manager's future. Well, The good news is Johnson has signed. So what does that tell you? It might tell you something. But I'm not going to get involved in he may go to United, he might do this, he might do that. There's no point because we don't know where he's going to go. Jel, make your point, mate.
If Parish gives him the window that he wants, because he has, made it abundantly clear that he wants players and a fair few, and he does do what Cole has alluded to, and he gets the quality that he is after, then I think there's a chance that he will sign another deal at in his own time, because he is that kind of manager. But I think if he was to sign another 3-year deal, it would only be a bit like when Elise signed, when we was all, oh my God, he went down to France, got on the boat, signed the deal, but we all knew that he was, it was to get more money. He stayed, instead of going in January, stayed to the end of the season and then off to Bayern he went. I think that would be, we'd get another season out of Glasner. I think it depends how far we go in Europe, what we do in the cup that we are left in. And obviously anything better than 12th in the league will be, again, a good starting point with hopefully a much stronger squad.
Thank you, mate. Nigel, could we have the upcoming fixtures very quickly, please? Because I know I'm conscious that Jim's got to go and watch his bake-off or whatever he's got to do. So could I have the upcoming fixtures, please, mate? Are they going to come? Are they coming? Nigel, you there? There you go. So obviously Wednesday evening, I am aware of a couple of tickets available for the Villa game, ladies and gentlemen. If anybody's short of tickets, just drop me a line because I might be able to point you in the right direction. I'm not saying where from or anything like that. 3 days later, we're away at Macclesfield in the Cup. Then we have a bit of a break. Look, a 7-day break before they go back up north once again. Saturday, the 17th of January, 3 o'clock kick-off away at Sunderland. Then look at that, another week off. Okay, another week off the players have got to recuperate. We're at home to Chelsea, and then I'd love to get a ticket for the 1st of February. Sunday, 2 o'clock on the 1st of February, we are away at Forest. There is no love lost. I hear more chatter about anti-Forest from Crystal Palace fans than I do against the next fixture, which is a week later, away at the Amex Stadium in Brighton. So there is lots of fixtures. I'm not even going to ask you for your points predictions, guys, because there's some difficult fixtures in there. Huh?
5.
5. Okay, then. Jim, I wasn't going to ask you. How many points from those fixtures?
Haven't a clue.
No, Yaz?
6.
Blimey. Okay. 6. And I won't give you mine because I got accused of being too bloody negative last week. Ladies and gents, I'm going to draw a line under there because I know you've got to shoot off and you're giving up your evening. Thank you. We will be back. When are we going to be back, Nige? Show me. We're going to be back on Sunday, the 11th of January. Look, a Sunday Red and Blue Review podcast. Make sure you're back with us. I know the numbers have been dropping because you keep doing these bloody Monday shows. Look out. Now, doesn't that look like a wronger? For the benefit of people who listen to the podcast, there is currently a picture of Ian Noble by the Opera House in Sydney. God, he looks as though he needs to go to the bar or get in the sun, one or the other. Yaz, Jim, Jel, thank you guys as always. I'll be in touch with you all with reference to upcoming podcasts, guys, all of you, including you, James. Ladies and gentlemen in YouTube land, thank you for joining us this evening. On behalf of myself, Nick Philpott, and this illustrious team, I wish you a safe week. See you again in Sevilla and next weekend. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye, everyone.